Thank you. So next up, let's welcome Ms. Lee Ka Hui, Manager Inflight Services, System Admin from Singapore Airlines. She has been with the company for 15 years in various roles spanning across different business units focusing on digital deliverables. She's passionate about driving automation and solutions that delivers business value as well as achieving customer satisfaction. Today, she'll share with us about seeking a contactless on-demand self-service in-flight ordering system. She is also joined by Ms. Tan Ming Eng, delivery manager with over 20 years experience in Singapore Airlines, working alongside business teams to deliver innovative solutions. So Ms. Tan specializes in airlines flight technology development and deployment and is responsible for leading the applications team for successful implementation. So with that, over to you, ladies.
Hi everyone, I'm Kahui. Okay, I'll just bring you through the background of what we are looking for. So, Manchong, maybe next slide. Okay, so basically we are keen to develop an in-flight digital ordering service which empowers our passenger to submit orders through their personal devices on board. So this actually helps to reduce the number of contact interaction between our passengers and our air crew, minimizing the risk of COVID-19 infection. So for this challenge, right, we are looking for solutions that can enable an in-flight digital ordering through passenger and crew existing mobile devices. So the PAX will be allowed to actually make meal order, food order, or even like amenities orders and so on. So basically, essentially, the ordering service. Next. So the problem statement that we have here is, how may we develop an in-flight digital ordering service with minimum infrastructure and air-to-ground communications? I'll walk through the current procedure that we have. Currently, a PAX will actually approach a crew through a call light and button. So they'll press the call button and the crew will approach the PAX and the passenger and ask them, what would you like to have? So the PAX will actually will actually let the crew know what they would like to have, and the crew will immediately goes to the galley to obtain the item and pass it on to the PAX. So for other services, like for example, that can be rendered immediately, the crew will be able to actually do so, like for example, putting the bed down and yeah. So this is actually the current procedure. The crew will need to make a trip back to the galley and come back with the items if necessary. Our ideal procedure on the next slide is such that the PAX will just place the order via the web application using their own personal devices. So the crew will be actually in the galley. Previous slide, yeah. So the crew will actually receive these orders in the galley on their own devices, the iPad, which is a company device, and they can prepare the orders in the galley itself and come right to the passenger with the item without having to come by and ask the passenger what you want. For the next slide, I'll pass it on to Ming Eng, who will take us through from the next slide.
Hi, this is Ming Eng. I'm from SIA IT department. I'll bring you through the requirement. And for the rollout plan and the evaluation criteria, they are standard per the OIP platform, which were already covered just now. So for the requirement, basically there are three parts, functional, technical, infrastructure, as well as performance and scalability. We are looking for a browser-based solution, such like, passengers do not need to download a new application. This is actually the friction today that we face because customers are typically resistant to do so. Yeah. For the real-time ordering, what we are looking at is after the passenger place an order, cabin crew can receive passengers' order instantaneously so that they could follow up with the fulfillment. And there should also be a notification, suitable notification to the crew, noting that the aircraft environment typically is quite noisy, and solutions should not introduce additional peripherals such as smart watches. Then there is also a requirement to have inventory tracking. This is so that we don't run out of order and disappoint our customers or passengers. And cabin crew should also be able to enable and disable the ordering features depending on the operational situation. For example, during takeoff and landing, no such services should be entertained. Yeah. And we are also looking at having analytical capability where service request data will be captured, enabling SIA to analyze patterns and improve resource usage, inventory stock taking, as well as service quality. Yeah, that is the functional part of it. So on the technical infrastructure side, we are looking at the solution must provide network connectivity between the passenger and the crew devices without the need to incur additional satellite data charges. Yeah, as you all may know, satellite data charges can be expensive. Yeah, and we are also looking at minimal infrastructure additions. Today, we are already having our onboard servers on board, so we are not looking at having additional hardware on board. Yeah, unless it is really, really necessary. Yeah. And our preferred solution is also to minimize or eliminate the need for having to have the additional server. So while we will design user interfaces for the application, the solution provider should propose within the proof of concept how the digital ordering would take place using the passenger device, crew device, and the proposed local network solution, which is the cabin Wi-Fi. And lastly, the solution should be device agnostic, meaning it should work from all reasonable mobile passenger devices like laptop, tablets, smartphones, using a common browser-based interface. Yeah, that is that part on technical infrastructure. And on the third part, which is performance and scalability, the experience is very important. We would like the passenger to have seamless experience such that they only connect only once at the beginning of flight and stay connected on the same network throughout. They should not need to toggle between network connections, for example, for their in-flight entertainment, using one SSID, and for this ordering another SSID. This is a friction to the passengers. And the solution should be safe in the sense that it should meet the certification by the aviation authority in the sense of like emissions, within the emission allowable limits, and it has to be secured. It should not introduce cybersecurity risks for the passenger and airline crew. Yeah, and it should be also reliable, highly stable, and always available for the passengers. And lastly, it should also be open for future services such as e-library or magazines and newspaper available for our local for their local download. Yeah, with that, I look forward to all the submission and all are welcome. I'll now hand over to the organizer.
Oh,
Okay. Maybe I should also cover the rollout
yes.
plan.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our initial scope is to actually roll out with small items like amenities, snacks, and beverages. And this is so that we could then test and learn. We will try out on the short haul flight first and take all the feedback and improve the operational processes before we embark on the full rollout that covers all the SIA destinations as well as all the items in the catalog. Evaluation criteria is the same, which is 30K for each winner. And more importantly, the winner will have the opportunity to work with SIA to make impactful changes and meaningful changes. And the three areas of evaluation criteria will be solution fit, readiness, and advantages. And the deadline is 19th of March. Okay, that's all for me.
Okay, so thank you, Ming Ming. Thank you, Kahui. So as usual, so please type your questions in the Q&A box below, and then as both Ming Ming and Kahui will be able to answer. There is one question for Mike Zhang. Hi, will this service be free for all passengers on board? Anyone?
I mean, if we can, I mean, if this is something that we find a viable solution, definitely we would like to actually give it to all passengers.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Please type it in the Q&A section and then we try our best to answer. Okay, here we are. Okay, I think, let me see. There's one question. Can we run small servers, which is very light to load data from inventory management? No, that's...
Maybe you want to take that
Okay,
question?
our preference is not to have any additional hardware because to put a hardware on board is a challenging task. You know, you have to clear the aviation authorities, and also the crew we will have to sort out all the logistic of who will manage the device. Yeah.
I think maybe if I can add a little bit more on that, not only is the logistic issue and getting aviation authorities clearance to mount additional devices on board, there's also limited space on board for us to place those servers. So I mean, we really have to. I mean, the galley spaces are all packed with ovens and whatnot. So it's really quite difficult for us to identify somewhere to actually put additional devices. So our idea is to really have to make use of the iPads that the crew were issued with, along with the passenger using their own devices.
Okay, there is one question from Edmund, which said that you mentioned that the app cannot be installed on the passenger's device, but that means to say that it'll be installed on the cabin crew's iPad mini?
Okay, the app basically is a browser-based app. Essentially, what we can look at is that, you know, once the passenger device is connected to our Wi-Fi, there should be a link on the Wi-Fi portal where they can actually click and maybe launch the application. Basically, it should not be a native app where the passenger has to download it before flight.
So
Okay,
maybe
clear.
if I can add on a little bit more, it's like if the passenger is on board the flight already and have not pre-installed the application, it will be very cumbersome for them to be able to download something on board, especially the lack of connectivity. So if we could have it as a lightweight web-based system, web-based application, we can just have it as a QR code or URL for them to enter and put in their orders.
Okay. Thank you. There's a question from Azhar Malik. Can storage and processing be provided like virtual machines on existing hardware? So I think you did mention that it would be serverless, correct? So
yeah, we are looking
correct me if
at
I'm wrong.
leveraging the crew devices, which is the iPad mini. Yeah.
Okay. There's one question. Are solvers allowed to tap on the onboard servers?
At the moment, not for this challenge, because to do anything with the onboard server, we will need integrations with our onboard server, and that is another challenge, and it will also be very costly in terms of solution. Yeah, that will also increase the dependency, and it will slow down the rollout the solution.
Okay. So the iPad mini can be used for servers, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that's done. Edmund has a clarification. So can they get the cabin crew to install an app?
No,
Okay.
because our crew are mainly focusing on servicing the passenger on board lah. So they are, I mean, we do not want to bog them down with going through all the passenger devices and install. And also, firstly, the principle of this solution is that we want to minimize the passenger and the crew contact.
Understand. Okay, so there's one question from Jim Wong. You mentioned in-flight SSID and ordering SSID. So can both be set up under one SSID?
Oh, that's our requirement. We wanted it to have
One
the same.
SSID.
Yes,
Understand.
and not both.
Okay, so there's one question from Eric Tan. Should we include collecting payment from duty-free items like perfume and alcohol?
You can leave that out.
Okay, got it. So I'll just reply this outside of the scope.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Are we allowed to tap on by servers? Okay, is there a from William Toh, is there a differentiation between the classes of passenger demands and needs, such as priority order, pre-ordering, and also auto recollection or return of the consumed items, such as cutlery and waste?
Okay,
I
Kawi.
suppose if
Yeah.
we can get the technology going, the use case can be looked upon lah. So I think the idea is really we want an ordering system where a communication system essentially lah, where you can actually communicate with the crew, without them having to walk to you. And also, ultimately, it doesn't rely on the air to ground connectivity, which is a satellite connectivity. So I mean, if it is a satellite connectivity, it's something that could already be easily done by like sending it to our ground servers and our ground server to send it back to the crew devices. So the whole idea, I think it looks a little bit more like a network kind of issue, a network kind of challenge that we're looking at.
Okay. There's one question from anonymous attendee. How do we authenticate the passenger?
Okay, as a start, perhaps we can rely on seat number, yeah, for the purpose of test and learn, and then we will then have to figure out what is a better way to authenticate a passenger, because we do have their booking and their seat number. It's just that passenger, when they are on board, they could also do a last minute change in their seat number lah. So there are some operational issues that might have to be ironed out as we progress further into the implementation.
Understand. Okay, so good. Are there any unanswered questions? Okay, if there are any questions, please type into the Q&A section as well. At this point, I'd like to thank Kahui and Ming. You can, if possible, you can just hang on a couple of minutes to just type in some of the answers in the Q&A box to some of the questions that may come after your segment. Okay, thank you.